Yo, let's go over everything you need to know on how to play Android 21 Majin Edition. We'll start off with a few of her latest 1.41 patch notes before diving deep into her steals, basics, and then advancing it more. To start off, her long range 3M is now 15 frames, being a better full screen poke. 5S is the same when close, but has higher hit stun when far away, comboing into itself and 236L and the M version and Super Dash. So combining these three to get long range confirms can be interesting. She has 1S that kinda acts the same as 2S and can go into JS and 3S to pull her forwards for new combos and mix. Her 214H EX dive now gives sliding knockdown when it's not the smash version on really short combos. Think anything shorter than solo rejumps. Now for the basics, let's break down her steals mechanics, which she gets from her successful command grabs. So quarter circle forward S is a grab that steals in this first box. In the air, it steals for the second box. Quarter circle back S grounded is the third one, which is the angled up grab when grounded, and in the air when it's done is the fourth box, behaving the same as the aerial 236S. So within these 4 boxes, she has 8 steals in total that are organized like so. The first half with quarter circle forward are attacking steals. The second half with quarter circle backwards are utility steals, all having a colored pair, which will be how we will use them in notations from now on, with blue being a regular beam and solar flare with a frame 1 anti-air property, now with increased hit stun for new combos. You get these from the Kame House characters, all the Gokus, even Goku Black, and even Videl. This will likely include Daima Goku as well. Yellow being consecutive energy blast that can be steered around and air dash for new combos now, tagged for assist JDR and even solo JDR. Super dashed afterwards, even full screen away, and if they interact with this move, you can cancel into her other steals or even her super. And the pair for that is Sticky Energy Blast, being a frame 1 anti-air grab with huge suction to it, amazing on Dragon Rush techs, where the grounded version can hit crouchers now for mix. These two are obtainable from Saiyans like Vegeta and the Fusions. Green with Explosive Energy Blast, that's faster now, firing 2 bombs that explode on the ground, even being an OTG that brings them back up after knockdown. And Barrier, that's frame 1 invoke, can be cancelled even on whiff and gain 25% key for every blocked attack. We get a limited supply of these from the androids and Baby. Purple being Homing Energy Blast that now fires 2 outside of combos, and Sonic Warp that lets us act faster now after the teleports. The air one goes to the ground and the grounded one goes up in the air. You get these from all the alien type characters, including the gods. So here's a quick list you guys can use as a reference on which character gives what. I wouldn't worry about it too much at first because it'll come with time the more you play Majin 21. What's nice is that her level 3 Sweet Tooth at plus 26 on Oki and restores 50% of her blue life now also lets you pick your steals per slot. Pressing 4 light attacks gives you all the blue ones, 2 beams, 2 solar flares, mediums are all the yellow ones, heavies are the purple alien ones, specials are the green android ones, being able to mismatch how you like. We'll cover this later in the mix section. And with all 4 steals available, you can fire them all in one EX orb that gets bigger and stronger per steal, and can be used for her impending Doom super. This is a unique super that fully heals herself now while tanking attacks, where it's an unblockable that does 6.8k damage up close and 5.4k full screen away. The only thing is that while she tanks the hits, they are able to grab her out of it. That's why it's mostly only helpful to set this up along with long C assist at the end of combos when you're full screen away, so that by the time they escape the combo, it's too late to do anything and they get hit by that 5.4k minimum. Now a few basic combo notes before we start optimizing her. After her grab, you can press L to get the side switch dive, press M to dive same side. Same with heavy, so you don't have to input a 214 sequence for the dives. And with steals, you can combo chain only from a 236S to its pairing 214S if possible by pressing S after the steal. So J236S only combos with J214S, and then again you can press L, M, or H after that for the dive. For things like beam into super dash, if you don't want to chain into heavy dive kick for example, you can hold back or down plus super dash and then you'll get the super dash instead. Now it's time for combos. I want to first go over her basic enders before optimizing.
Whoa, I'm all small now!
Ending in her heavy dive kick solo can let you get sliding knockdown like this by whiffing 2L into delayed IAD where you can pick it back up. Remember, this only works on shorter combos. Usually for her, you would call an assist after the grab and M dive to like stay same side for positional advantage into like JDR, that works for every assist. If you get some timings down with some assist, you can get a grounded Dragon Rush, in which you can do 214H. And then side switch again. That was for short combos, but on long combos, you can always get a level 1 afterwards. So it's good if you want to get a steal and then get a kill, or just DHC purposes to go back mid-screen. Sometimes if you start the combo with like a Dragon Rush and can't Dragon Rush again, it's better to end or extend with L dive into your assist, because then when you do grab, you can put them back in the corner for positional advantage. If you want to extend with your assist, what you can do is auto combo into M orb, so the first jab can whiff but the rest can connect, and you can still end with a grab but not the heavy slaying knockdown since the combo gets too long here. And if you have like really long scaled combos, what you can do is remove some Ki Blast and just stick to some JMs. Not saying this combo is really long, but just for practical tips in case you don't want your combos to drop. And here's a double assisted example using grab or JDR. Now time for optimal, starting with mid-screen solo, then we'll cover steals, then spark and TODs. For this first one, 3M is auto timed, and note that linking L orb is better than medium orb whenever you can. And here's an example of a skill starter of this combo using 5S in here to help with hit confirms and all that. And it deals almost 4.1k, 4.1k with the JA starter, still being the same combo base, which is nice. Maximizing this with an assist can look like so, where you can link 2M, delay 5M into 5H. And depending on your assist, you can get slightly different extensions. And KJ Pixel found this link to be her most damage and close to the corner by doing delay Ki Blast, a light orb, because you want to prioritize getting that light orb in and have the same delay as to get that height, which can be a bit tricky. And the note for these big bodies like Z Bully, you can connect 3S mid-screen to get these combos, and since we'll see more of Broly, this is worth to know, just for style points I suppose. Now 21 has the easiest regular rejump in the game, but her optimized rejump can look like so, with a jam delay JH rejumping with a super jump JM JH J2H. Now there is a trick to this with a super dash button. Basically after you press it, release it, press a medium, then press a super dash button again to get your jumping heavy, because the super dash button is H plus S. Then you hold it to maintain the S macro that turns regular dash jump into super jump. So you can just input 669 and that becomes a super jump, making this a lot easier. This becomes much easier when you're closer to the corner, of course, and here's an example of skill starters, but her more optimal stuff lies with the 5H into her L orb with 3M stuff. For a simple super dash confirm, you can just extend it after her EX dive ting. These are good because you get back into the ground where you can connect 5M mid-screen, and then depending on your skill you can extend like the super dash one, but if you're doing super dash on the ground you can go for her rejumps to be more optimal as well. If you end up in the corner after the EX dive, what you can go for is a dash 5H and then 3S stuff that we'll explore more in the corner section for even more damage. What's cool though is that she has new confirms after these Ki Blasts. You can just go into super dash after, or you can go into M orb super dash stuff. And this applies to her 3M as well. There's multiple different ways to confirm these now, which is great for 21. If you do get advantage though, doing auto combo into the M orb is always her most optimal route. Now in the corner, you can do 3S into a falling JH, fall down and then re-jump in. It's pretty easy if you practice with just one loop to get started with. For an auto-timed corner link, you can mash 2L and then 5H with L orb, and that does more damage than Ki Blast medium orb. And here you have to delay the JLs to be more optimal, so that's the only timing part. If you want a fully auto-timed version, or you're just not confident in that link, you can still just remove the extra JL. And it's like 150 less damage though. You can get some loops if you delay this first 3S, and then you just mash the 5Hs to get 2 of them. Again, delaying the JLs to get that extra extension here for 5.4k. Even if you remove some of the JL extensions, if you struggle with that, it's okay. You just get like what, 75 less-ish damage. Big Chap Alien 21 find a pretty practical optimal version by delaying the second falling JH into medium orb, and then you delay your JLs again for 5.7k. Again, you don't need to add these extra JLs, but it is really good damage. Guild can follow the same logic using an early Ki Blast and still delaying the first 3S and delaying that last JH to get the M orb, and here no Ki Blast at the end for 4.3k, 2.1 bars. For corner assisted routes besides basic enders, Big Chap shows us using these double Ki Blast links to optimize a little bit more for 6k damage, and I honestly love using her double Ki Blast. It looks dope. So her optimal 5S confirm when close to the corner can look something like so. We're moving the Ki Blast here just to make it more consistent and make it less likely to drop for 3.9k. Now it's time to use her steals and combos. So first of all, her grounded beam, you can just replace the M orb with the grounded beam and then just do the same combo and you get a bit more damage with it. With being mid-screen, her most optimal is going for this regen, remember holding down or back after to get a super dash and not EX dive accidentally, giving pretty good damage and it's saucy. What's nice about beam is that you can extend even after, so here we can land 2 of her beams I guess for really big damage, 5.6k, which is pretty sick. And you can also pair it after her new loops to get an extra loop or in the air with her double ki blast tank to keep it going. Lots of creativity with this one. And here's a bonus beam combo inspired by Xiao where you just go into a re-jump holding onto the smash to get triple grabs in. So a version of being able to do triple grabs, 3 grabs, although expensive but without needing spark, ending with a super here. Now with air beam you can't do anything if you're not in the corner. The only time it can be kinda useful is after her solar flare or sticky energy blast, in which you can just press S after, put behind them and then M. So yeah, with the sticky energy blast it can look like this. And even her sonic warp teleport you just need to input L right away. If we actually combine these together, so 2 solar flares and then 2 beams, you can see the damage actually reduces. So to finish up her blue suits, you can combo solar flare like this, holding back and then spamming the 5M to get that. What is really nice mid-screen is that you can connect 2M into 5H for even more damage. And here's just a scaled starter to show you guys. With the aerial version, you can get some sauce like this with 3S mid-screen, which is pretty cool, but it gets cooler when you add a beam to it. If we combine it with 1 beam, this can make for really good damage honestly. Here's just an unskilled comparison and it's really easy. This is free damage. You can go for pretty cool sauce like this. This is just stylish, you feel me? What? In the corner, you can land 2 All-In, which means you can go into your corner loops from a solo flare as well, although this does do less damage. And from 2M 5M, you can land a 2M in, and then you can do whatever combo you want after 5H. Here I'm showing you after the beam, you can just end it in the corner. With Vegeta's technique, it gives her more incentives to go for re-jumps, especially her harder ones, because she can use it and then just super dash afterwards for easy extensions. The grounded version can be held low and then delayed to him to extend it like so. But you can also just land into 5M, which is a lot easier if you want to confirm it. But by holding away from them, this does make for some interesting air dash side switches. Even after jump canceling, you get a really easy side switcher by just air dashing. You can get some interesting side switches like so, canceling it early so you get a ground bounce to link the 5H in, super dashing here, or you can just air dash DR as well as an ender. Now her sticky steel isn't really like a combo tool. And you shouldn't really waste on combos. Like you can get some interesting stuff I guess with like super dash extensions with the EX dive, but it's mostly like a mix-up neutral tool or combo ender. Not really a combo tool, but after the consecutive energy blast you can extend it like so for really easy confirms of this mix-up that we'll discuss more later on. Although you can go for the really cool re-jump after the beam stuff, which is really fire, especially close to the corner. Close to the corner this feels pretty free, not gonna lie. However, if you have 2 beams and you super dash after the first one, if you don't land to the ground you can do another beam again, which we'll see soon for TODs. Off her green orb, what you can do with the explosions is 5S, 236S, and you can pick them back up with a 2M. Off the air one though, it seems like she can't really do her staircases. And this is what I mean by the staircases. It feels like before you were able to pick them up, but now I think it's too fast. But more optimally, what you can do is also go into the 5H stuff after the 2M to just optimize that route a little bit more with the green bombs. Off super dash jam, if you're close to the ground, you can go into this re-jump thing. I just did the 3S JS just because it looks cool. A slightly more optimal version is adding the JH in, which looks really sick using her long tail to extend the combo. You can combine 2 of her green orbs together to get really cool mid-screen re-jumps like this for 5.7k. I think that's pretty gas, I'm not gonna lie. In the corner, just showcasing a different version, you can go into 5L into the similar type of combo, but she has a better route using her new loop. Big Chap found this route using it in the corner to extend optimally with auto combo like so after her double ki blast. Pretty easy combo. A note is that for all of her other steals, sticky, solar flare, whatever, you can just go into it and then dive right away. But with Sonic Warp, you can optimize a lot of her combos, like this example where you delay the 5M after Sonic Warping a little bit. Remember, press S to Sonic Warp after the green orbs. More optimally, what you can do is delay auto combo, and they get a ground bounce from here, so the delay is very flexible. And then you can get this route that's a bit more damaging. And this side switch is in the corner. And you can combine two of these with the Sonic Warp. I think this steal is her only comboable one with Sonic Warp besides the very specific things. There's nothing too crazy for Orb's mid combo, it just acts as like an extra normal, I guess. But when you Vanish, you get two of them. So after Vanishes after her dive kicks, you can do Orb and then slightly delay an EX Lariat that can come out right after into another mini extension. Depending on timings and positional stuff, you can get different creative things like vanishing early after her dive kick here to get like a grounded DR. And by creative routes, I mean like this one, extending after her level 1. So you do the Vanish right after the dive kick into M right away, press the M, and then you can super jump to follow up after the orbs, land into your Dragon Rush, grab, saucy as hell. But not a lot of damage. You know I love my spark and cancel, so she has a couple notes. If you delay EX orb, you can connect it with a medium orb, mid-screen, and you can get into 3 of her grabs with this sequence solo, which makes for pretty nice combo enders. You can also do double orbs before the smash, and then pick the combo right back up. Off Super Dash and Spark, never do JL. It'll just whip. Just do JM, and in the corner, you can do her meterless orbs together into the same triple grab thing. Now if we combine these in Spark, you can get these double orb routes, even work in mid-screen and in the corner as long as you have your super dash available. So I had to use a rejump here to preserve my super dash, and then it can even work as a combo ender close to the corner. This makes it really nice in the corner too, actually. Like after 1 or 2 loops, you can just add these on, making sure that your combo doesn't go too long, and then you can end with her multiple grab ender, ending how you like. And the only extra thing in the corner is that you can do IAD stuff, and I wanted to show off how you can link all of her dives together. Now with her steals, there's a lot of possibilities, but something really cool is that she can grab and cancel into that same steal in the same combo. Usually she can't do that, so here 236S to 236S, 214S to 214S. So depending on who you get their steals from, you can get really interesting strings and sequences like this one. So here I charge up all of her grabs, and then I manually input each of the steals that I want in sequences to like special cancel them together. Really cool. In Spark, what's interesting is that you can confirm all of her dives by just super dashing afterwards. So you're able to confirm things like sticky energy blast with a rejump, or you can just pick it up from super dash with an orb as well, and then continue the combo like so. So super dash cancels can make for better confirms sometimes, just remember that. Before we get to Spark, I want to show off this solo TOD Xiao found. So basically, before you land the ground with beam, you still preserve the steal. So even if I super dash in JH, you saw how she still vanished afterwards to continue with her beam. She's able to use the grounded to aerial steals as long as she doesn't touch the floor, which is really cool tech. You can apply that in different situations. And this leads to a TOD with her level 3 to get the steals. While editing, I realized I didn't really cover any team TODs. Most of her optimals with assists can lead to easy team TODs. But before we get to Spark stuff, I want to show this one off with the green and purple teleport steal, and then how you can OTG them back up to add a bit more damage after your DR ender. So that's just an example of how to use that OTG, but you can obviously optimize it a little bit more. Alright, so 21 has a bunch of different TODs. I'll show like 3 with different types of steals with sparks and spark cancels, and then one without sparks. So this one, using the yellow steals from Vegeta, you can get a routing like this. Low-key kind of reselling it every time, but as long as you fit in the normals with the EX dive vanish part, it should kill, being able to use the sticky after Dragon Rush. This is a really sick TOD working on like the Saiyans. Here's a mid-screen version when she has her beam steals, looking pretty nice, getting close to the corner so you can get this beam into 214S grab. And here I want to bring them back mid-screen to show a different ender where you can end with Vanish into this for another beam, slightly delay your empty Vanish, get more damage in, and that lets you TOD off of it. I thought that was a really cool ender. One of my favorite TODs from Xiao is where you have to hold back after firing the orbs on the ground into empty Vanish so you don't get a Lariat, and by the time you fire her 2 beams, the orbs come back so you can pick the combo right back up. Oh my god, nah, this is one of my favorite Android 21 TODs. Beautiful stuff. And since you get 2 orbs now, it does even more damage, so you could probably optimize this even more. Also, just being a practical TOD. Now that we finished with her combos and broken through the combo lab, let's go over her pressure, mix, and some neutral tips. First thing I want to talk about for Mixup is her level 3. It was nerfed before, but now it's back up to plus 28, which gives you an IED meaty save jump Oki. Aerial super works the same way. It's a bit more advantageous at plus 28, but all of her Oki subs can work in the corner, anywhere, mid-screen, all that. What's insane though is that her yellow steal now grabs Croucher, so we can use this to mix. So it doesn't matter what steals you can get any steal as long as the third one is her yellow, because that gives you 214S. And from here you can get unreactable strike throw setups. So there's 2 ways to set up this mix. You can just do dash up into 2M or dash up into 214Y. So the 2M beats out the mashes, also catches jumps and all that. Whereas dash up 214Y, because of the spacing and all that, you don't get a tight meaty, so they can mash and jump out of it. So yeah, either they guess between the dash 2M or the dash unreactable grab at 18 frames on the first setup, or because they see the dash, they expect the mix to come, so that's where you can layer in other things like dash into cross up. A lot of people like to use their DPs here because they see the dash. The dash isn't like a safe jump, right? So they let the DP fly, but that's where dash block comes in for huge callouts. The better mix is in pressure, using it after your 5L. So you do your meaty safe jump, and then from here you go 5L into the grab. The reason why it's stronger is because this catches jumps, catches super dash, so this is the only strike throw situation in the game that catches aerial aspects. Even on mashes, if they're like 2 frames too late, they still get caught, so it's very hard to mash out of this. Being an 18 frame command grab is a guess. And like we covered in the steal sections, depending on what steals you have, you can get really sick confirms. Beam is the easiest one, but sticky energy is a more consistent meterless extension. And the other setup is better because it prevents them from jumping right away, but they have to guess to mash, so you can do delay frame traps. 5M is a good one, and then if they don't mash, you can go into pressure where you can grab after your frame trap anyways. Even if they reflect this, you can react with 3M, which is pretty cool. And even in pressure, you can outspace it so their mash is whiff, which is OD. But that depends on what they're mashing and the character's ranges. So yeah, after IADs, you can layer in other options as well, having the grab whenever you want. So you're going to see a lot of people spark Android 21's pressure and Mixup because it's so strong. What you can do is equip beam with late, and then from there with a dash setup, you can do dash but cancel it early into beam, and then that outspaces you perfectly to be outside of the spark. With the IAD setup, you can IAD and then cancel into beam before the JH, and that spaces you out because the beam moves her backwards. Another interesting one is that you can equip teleport on the last one, so you can go light, yellow, then circle, and then you can jump up in the air, do 214, and then kind of bait it out like that. But that one's not as tight. Just make sure your third steal is always the yellow one, or else there's no mix. So we spoke a bit about it in pressure, but I want to talk about it more. So off her lights, you don't need to delay it at all. Off her mediums and her heavies, you can't do it right away. You need a little gap because of the frame data. It's especially hard on 2M, that's like minus 10 or 11 on block. But what you can do is you can cancel it into something else if you do it really fast. So that's kind of cool tech by just pressing S again. And then you can like mix up stuff, and you can also cancel it into her dives as well. So say for example, they see you going for it like, oh, she messed up. Nah. The next mix I want to talk about is her new 3S plus assist mix-up. So you can do it the super dash way where you leave a gap and then call the assist to cover that gap. First way is this fake way where you call an assist to cover this guard cancel reflect gap since it is a key blast. The best way to set this one up is by being close. So 2M is really nice, 2L can be really nice. Same thing with 5H. But then once you start going to like 5M, it brings her close. Same with 5LL, so it whiffs. But even if it whiffs, it's okay. although it doesn't work on really small characters. From there, you can just land low or air dash high, being a high-low even mid-screen with some assists, and doing JM makes it more consistent for the high. And the pro of this faker one is that it can work with less block stun. Even with the gap though, this can still be useful sometimes if you're smart with it. And some people say that just means that you need to have good pressure to stagger and then reflect bait stuff. Ideally though, you want to set up without having this gap, right? But the better version is just doing it whenever, even when it misses, and with 36 plus frames of block stun, it true strings. And of course, more block stun means it's easier to get the timings down. What's cool is Midscreen, depending on their height and when normals used before the 3S, you can actually end up crossing up. This is a superior mix-up option of course, but you have to be careful of landing that 3S on hit because it can kind of change how it interacts sometimes. The next one you can do with Purple Steel, you do the assist plus the steal. On lower blocks one you can just get like a JH and then try to get fake mix-ups from there, but on 40 plus you can do fast fall low. In the corner you can float for the high, float back same side. And with 30 frames of blocks and mixed screen, you can go for this float left right. Although the timings can be really hard for this one. And then her consecutive energy blast can be cancelled with an air dash like right away if I get the timing right. So kind of similar to her 2S stuff. That's it for like her new mix-up. She can still do all her old stuff. Like this DR Crush that can also have an assist behind it. Same thing with her solo pressure with 2S being able to air dash back in. Or land 3M, and 3M is stronger now because of how strong 5S the confirms are. What's nice about her 2S pressure is that, you know, she can also react to super dash with her 214S grab with all her steals as well to counter like solar flare, like the yellow and like the green. And yeah, using these as base can lead to a lot of success. 5H being safe on block. You know, her EX ball, good frame trap tool. You still get plus frames from this where it can true string with like your 5M. 2M is also a true string, forcing them to block low. Where IED can be a safe jump as well. If you're further away, you can do like delay 3M. And yeah, still revolving around her command grabs. Especially that now her yellow got buffed, her strike throw game is insane now. I have a couple notes for Oki, I guess. You could use the homing blast as a meaty option. On block, it's like plus 26 on the ground, plus 32 in the air, and you can also mix in the teleport with this. What's cool about the uptech one, if they block it, you take the corner. They get out of the corner for some pretty interesting stuff. You can set up the aerial orb if you do like a vanishing or an assisting. And then depending on the height of these aerial orbs, you can actually pressure like Beerus, confirming 6M solo by the time it gets back. But you have to experiment with your teams and all that. So yeah, it can make for some pretty interesting layers for the Oki. That's probably the only use of the aerial teleport. What's really cool on uptech with different timings, can actually appear outside the corner, which is pretty sick mix. She's really good in neutral. You can't really punish 2S. It's really hard to super dash through these. This can be really hard to punish, but she's really good because 5S gives more now. You can bring them back down with her 236M, and a good pattern to learn is micro dashing plus 3M, especially after you throw like 2S out. Micro dash be in range, 5S. Always get used to doing these type of patterns and be ready to 2H of course. And with her 1S stuff, pairing it with JS can be interesting to overwhelm them. There's a lot to look out for, jail that with Vanish. But what's nice with her is that if you dash plus 3S, you can get in range really fast from full screen away. So if you have like an assist backing you up, you can get like pretty interesting setups. Call the assist as you dash block forward, get behind them. And this is so fast that they won't be able to like react on time to reflect or anything, right? So yeah, dash blocking 3M, dash blocking 5S, 2S, and now with 3S can be really interesting patterns for her. Especially because she has like beams as well, high priority beams. Her steals as well with the assist can be interesting because you can also ground them, call the assist, and then teleport. Oh my god. For the lows, that can be interesting as well. And that about wraps it up. It wasn't really like a 1.41 patch notes type video. It was more of a general how to play this character because I feel like guys for her is kind of slacking recently. So I hope you enjoyed and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. It isn't over yet. Yo, bet you didn't expect this, but sorry for the re-upload. This video was just impossible to search. Like, even on my channel, it wouldn't come up if you searched it on my own channel. So that was weird, but I will add a few extra tips. The overall combos are all good, but there are a few new stuff, and also Xiao's 21 video with some cool links as always. But the first change is for 1.42 patch, where 214H always gives sliding knockdown now, even if used before. So here's an easy showcase of that with her command grab into EX dive, and you get plus 60 of frame advantage on the ground for Oki, so you can go for universal Oki or the frame kill one like 5LL IADJH to regen assist. So if you add this to all of her optimals for half a bar, you get like what, an extra 60 plus damage and sliding knockdown if you want to spend that meter. But it's great because I think this is what they wanted, so all combos are still the same. Midscreen does 5.3k, and I show off the regen assist Oki. As you can see, my assist coming back on the second combo here since I used it in the first one. However, what this does mean now is that her extra long combos are even better, so her green OTG explosive blast steals are even stronger now since you can get double knockdown. Isn't that crazy? Here you can get 5.4k solo off a 2H with this dash of 5L5H link after the green steal. I guess you can technically get triple EX dives in one single combo or even more. Here's an example of that, but it is very expensive. So it's only optimal if you have meter for it and if you have green steals over other steals, but besides that though, I don't know if it's worth it. Although it is better to extend this way than with Vanish since you get sliding knockdown for a total of 1 bar. Like, it can help to extend the yellow grab combo, so the grounded yellow consecutive energy blast is still her most optimal route from her mix grab, but she can extend that even more with EX dive into the green blast. If it's the air green blast, then you have to jump up in the air and then input your 236, and then you can pick it up however you want. Or just super simple steals extensions, I guess, if you have other steals after the OTG. And make sure not to repeat any of the same ones. Like, if you repeat the same grab, then it just drops, right? So this can be nice on combo enders depending on your steals. But you know what though, since we're speaking about her level 3 mix, and we'll get back to this in a sec, but if you want to spend all your steals and meter, you can get something like this after a sticky grab. Her combos are actually limitless, man. Here's an example of another TOD with green steals into extensions after 2H. Very cool. I want to showcase the dash with the auto combo version of this. There might be more optimal ways, but it's crazy how even on this long combo with grab at the end here, I can do EX dive and still get sliding knockdown. So this applies when tagging in from teammates combos as well. Is she the only one that can repeat a sliding knockdown and get it on the smashes version? Because even like Blue Vegeta can only use 1 grab per combo. I don't know. But if the combo gets way too long, then they take out of getting a sliding knockdown, just like usual. So a more optimized Vanish combo found by the narrator is this one. That deals 2.9k without the EX sliding knockdown here by delaying 2M and 5H. This applies to her grab as well, but is a bit tricky on smalls and only adds like 200 more damage, so the dash auto combo into medium orb is the one I recommend on smalls. You can also fit in 236 blue as a substitute if you grab these Gokus and Kame House characters for a bit more damage out of it. And here's a nice combo ender that Varys reminded me of that I want to add is if you have 3 or more steals by doing a grounded DR like after assist, you can do 236H that links to the 214S for an extra like 600 more damage at the cost of all your steals. This works at very high hit stun with 3 steals and might always be guaranteed with 4 steals. And you can double extend if you have enough hit stun as well with 2 assists, which can be interesting. A note for steals management, you can do quarter circle forward or quarter circle back steal into that same version grab in the same combo, since those two are different moves. So 236B or 236Y into 236S here. I did showcase that, but I wanted to make it clear because this can help when trying to get a combo ender with steals mid combo, or when you're trying to swap out steals. Like doing this 236Y 214Y extension, still being able to extend and end with 214S. And it can help in spark when spark canceling like we spoke about. But this Yao solo combo TOD is a great example of that, canceling 214Y into 214S into 236S into 236B, because they're all different moves even though that they follow the same quarter circle direction. And I just wanted an excuse to include some more Xiao sauce, reminding you guys on the steal's teleport nature, how it stays even if you add normals in between, as long as those normals are heavies or specials. But yeah, check out Xiao. He has a lot of cooler links like this one, connecting 5L after orbs and extending with a solar flare property by delaying it, always holding a direction and then press super dash or gel so it comes out and not the follow-up. But yeah, check him out for more 21 tech. Now for her level 3, after playing her for a while, I sometimes just mess it up mid-screen with my IAD meaty timing. I just don't get the meaty, or I just don't get the right IAD timing spacing where my 5L into 214Y makes whiffs. So I honestly recommend doing it in the corner always. For me, I would grab and do the L follow-up to side switch out of it, but it's better to keep them in the corner since the mix is between strike throw 50-50 anyways. So if you're closer with a safe jump, it just helps with the timing. And you can even layer this with double overheads with IDJML in the corner or fake outs as well. And if you land the 50-50 strike aspect with a 2M or 5M, then you can get better optimal corner combos in. So level 3 in the corner is definitely superior. One thing I will say about her mix though, her 214Y can be super jumped out of it. So not jumped or super dash, but super jumped. Although it still has the same issue of being a 50-50 with a frame trap and you have to guess with the super jump. But if you're gonna risk a jump, then make sure it's super jump, in which you can also do by holding S in blocks them when they're hitting you. Some other notes with level 3, I've been loving the teleport steals personally, the aerial one to safely bait things out and phase through spark. But the grounded one also, and doing L or M follow up hits same side and doing EX hits cross up. This used to meaty, but it's still very tight. So it's a sort of a gimmicky 50-50 because once they see you teleport, they don't really know which side you'll appear on since it's so fast. This actually makes it really nice and neutral, especially the aerial one, since I find myself getting a lot of punishes with 214P into the heavy follow up to appear behind them, whether it's beams to change my landings or anything else. And quarter circle forward purple as well for the orb, since these don't disappear when 21 gets a hit or notably when she's blocking. They only disappear if a dragon rush is used or tech at any points, or if she gets hit in a full combo. But bro, having these out and just advancing is so oppressive because even if they start returning or blocking, they still come. Just be careful of the limited timer on them. Back to Oki, for sliding knockdown, you can use yellow steals to help with that. Solar flare having some use here, especially the aerial one, since it's such a big meaty hitbox on reaction to their getup and an anti-air. And if you have an assist, you can call it for high-low 50-50. The air sticky grab also functions the same, but if they up tech, they get grabbed instead. Speaking of the sticky grab in the air, if they tag your DR with their backs to the corner, this acts as almost a guaranteed checkmate situation, but delay backdash does escape it. But that's really hard to time, and the layers here are that air dash JL beats the backdashes, and you can even slightly delay your sticky grab to handle the delay backdash. But then fast fall can actually avoid the delayed sticky grab. It's good to know about, but most people are not ready for the extra layers even at high level. And a few extra notes, in Spark if you have 4 steals, you can spend them all in a 236H for plus frames, but if paired with an empty Vanish JH, you can set up a 50-50 with air dash JM or land a 2L. They cannot 2H this empty Vanish JH part, which is great for mix. And finally, a very niche note is if they have some unblockable super setups that we spoke about earlier, like with C assist, and you can't make it on time to punish 21, instead of holding the full damage, you can do a super of your own to involve through a bit of the beginning parts and save like 1k damage, especially your level 3 with extended animation. But yeah, I hope you can support this slightly updated repost. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.